Hello, I am Carrie Holcomb with Medmix, and I am excited to spotlight the Medmix family of dispensers. The company actually has three brands under its umbrella, MixPack, Cox, and MK. We're going to focus more on the Cox and MK side of things. And MixPack is more the legacy brand of Medmix, designed to fit their 2K component cartridge systems. Cox is a little more familiar, recognized in the US, reputation of quality. MK is a little bit newer to the US market. Their niche is more on the composite and the plastic side of the dispensers. So starting with the Cox dispensers, why would I choose Cox? The biggest reason is we have, the full range, whether it's 1K, 2K, or you might know it as single component, dual component. We've got manual dispensers, pneumatic dispensers, battery dispensers. So basically a line to take any cartridge system or sausage, bulk, whatever system's on the market. We're going to have a tool for that in the Cox line. So they're, especially on the manual, you're known for them being robust. They're steel. Pretty simple features in the line. You go from, you have the switchable flow control, which is, kind of known in the market as an anti-drip. There's an integrated spike on the tool to, break the seal in a cartridge. They've got the, differences in mechanical advantage or how much thrust is applied when you're dispensing. So really based on the job or what the cartridge system, the system is going to help you define, that tool. On the dual component side, we've again got basically an entire range from manual, pneumatic, battery for the different cartridge systems that are on the market. Again, the Cox line is known for being steel and robust. There is some aluminum in there, but they're epoxy coated, so they're going to be durable. They're going to last. The dual component range is going to accommodate the cartridge system based on a capacity or a mix ratio. It's also going to take some variables into consideration, like the weather, if it's cold outside, whether the static mixer that's, bringing the two parts together, what the cure time is with that mixer. So a lot of picking Cox is going to be just defined on the dual component side, what cartridge system is going in the tool. When you get into the MK side, this brand is known more, like I said at the beginning, for being composite or plastic. They're a lot lighter weight because of that configuration. You'll notice the handles look a little bit different than what we see on the market a lot, with them being balanced in the middle of the frame rather than at the rear. So it just accommodates the cartridge balance, so you're not, tipping forward, or the weight's more evenly distributed on that tool. The features are similar. You're still going to get the spike to break a seal on a 1K cartridge. They still have the anti-drip feature, a little bit different on the MK, where you'll notice there's no release plate to pull the rod back. There's actually a trigger lock. So the front of the trigger actually gets pushed forward to unlock the rod to be able to pull it back, rather than a customary thumb plate. And then just hitting a little bit on a pneumatic selection. I showed the single component here just because it's a little bit more of a variance between the Cox and the MK brand. They're a little bit different. I mean, again, going back to the plastic versus, aluminum type barrels or a steel frame, there is a little bit more of a mix on the pneumatic side between the two brands. But, Cox is going to have, the interchangeable plunger systems that maybe clip on and off on the inside. So depending on whether you've got a cartridge or a sausage pack or even a pail with material in it, you're going to be able to use a specific dispenser with a plunger system that's going to work for that. Same with the MK, but the MK is a little bit unique, especially for cartridge tools. And I actually threw a couple of them up here to reiterate that you see a lot of variances in cartridges on the market on the single component side. We see plastic, we see corrugated. They're all maybe even a little bit different in length. So the MK tools actually have a system in the back end that's either beveled back seal or it's self-adjusting where it kind of seals to the back of the cartridge. There's a couple pieces that move. So it's not just air, because you can kind of see the frames open where we don't see that on the Cox side. And that helps to adjust for those variances in cartridges, which is a cool, unique feature of the MK tool. Price points are similar between Cox and MK, just in general. Some, variances based on the style of tool or, depending on what it is, but very similar as a price point between Cox and MK. So then just kind of wrapping up with how do I choose the right tool, whether it's determining, which brand, which is, ultimately a preference between the two. But really you're just dialing down, do I have a single component, dual component, and it kind of starts pointing in the right direction from there. Do I have single or dual? Am I looking for a manual tool, or do I want pneumatic or battery? On the single component side, it's a little simpler because it's more of a feature benefit type selection. Once you get the packaging determined, is it cartridge, sausage, bulk pack material, then it's what variables come into play, the viscosity, again, what size nozzle, the opening that you're using, dispensing with, and then whether you need a tool to compensate for any of those variables. On the dual component side, it's a little more, it seems more complex, but it's actually more specific. You're determining what capacity that cartridge system is, what mix ratio it is, and then really what manufacturer made the cartridge, because the front ends of a tool really make a big difference of how that cartridge fits in the frame. So it's not as easy to say, oh, I want, a different variant for, aesthetics or something. It's more specific to make sure the cartridge is going to fit. A couple of resources that we have, probably familiar with the catalog, it's been out, in one shape or form for forever with a hard copy or electronic, but a relatively new feature that we have on our website is actually a dispenser selection tool. So let me show you a quick peek at the selection tool that's on the website. If you go into the product section, it can be with Cox or MK. There's a section here to match your cartridge. And in here, you just start filtering. So if you're looking for a 2K or a dual component cartridge, it's a side-by-side. Let's go 600 mil. You pick in the ratio, of what the sizes of the two sides are. And I'm going to leave the drive blank, but you can select if for sure you want manual, pneumatic, battery. But when you'll see here now what the cartridges look like, that's built into our system or our database. And by clicking view matching products, it will actually bring up the tools that will accommodate that cartridge system. So by not picking drive, you can see we've got some manual tools in here. We've got pneumatic, we've got battery, there's Cox, there's MK. So it kind of gives you the full option based on that cartridge system. So kind of a neat feature that we're getting added to that. Obviously a continued work in progress to get it perfect, but we'll get there. That's really the little bit of in a nutshell of the two dispenser brands under Medmix, and hopefully it was a little bit interesting and you learned something new.